So what we're looking at today is your God-given talents. We're not concerned about the man-made talents. We're looking at your God-given talents. So now that you've set your goals, it's very important to upgrade your mindset. And as I said, to achieve a goal you've never achieved before, you have to become somebody that you've never been before. Now, we also started to talk about identity and the person that you need to become in order to achieve your goal. And what's very important is to remember that there's two kinds of talent: man-made and God-given talent. So your goals that you set should be aligned with your God-given talent. So when your goals are in harmony with your God-given talent, everything becomes easier. So to learn about your God-given talents, we're going to use the Mind Report technology. And the technology will help you uncover your strengths and your abilities. And that's what's going to help you achieve your goals with astonishing speed. So Mind Report measures your emotional intelligence, helping you understand yourself better, to discover your unique characteristics, and also to tap into your inner potential. So by analysing your voice waves, we can assess your emotional frequency. And our technology gathers 1,440 emotional triggers and 14,000 health and genetic issues from just a 90-second voice analysis. Now, our core technology was developed in Europe based on studies in quantum physics, biochemistry, epigenetics, psychology, and other research fields from various universities around the world. Now, using AI and machine learning, along with big data technology, the software can connect vocal vibrations and brain waves to emotions. And this software can measure your stress levels, emotional states, subconscious patterns, and your inner potentials. Now, the technology is also completely unbiased in all aspects. There are no questions that influence your responses. We focus solely on the voice qualities, and this can be completed in any language. And we also concentrate just on brainwave activity. And what it means is that anyone of any age can use this technology. And there's no other technology that offers this level of objectivity. Now, the innovative voice analysis technology can identify physiological changes linked to things like depression. Now, depression results from poor health habits and imbalances in neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. Anxiety, which manifests as increased heart rate, rapid breathing, sweaty palms, constant unease, and difficulty relaxing. Stress, which activates the sympathetic nervous system, triggering the fight or flight response, which can lead to hypoglycemia and, in very severe cases, hemorrhagic shock. Burnout. Burnout is caused by uncontrollable stress, resulting in fatigue and impaired regulation of thoughts and emotions. So the question is, what does it take to make a speech sound? Well, to make a speech sound, we have the coordination of 100 muscles, working alongside the nervous system, the brain, the auditory system, the sensory system, and the language perception system. Now, your face also has 43 muscles, which is controlled by the 7th cranial nerve. Also, you have your masseter muscle. Now, did you know that your masseter muscle is the strongest muscle in your body? Did you know that? Your tongue. Your tongue also consists of 8 muscles. Did you know your tongue is your most flexible muscle? See how many different directions you can point it inside of your mouth. Your muscle, your tongue muscle, can produce up to 130 words of speech per minute. It's extremely flexible. Your tongue also indicates your health, and it can also accumulate fat when you experience weight gain. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, the tongue reveals signs of health issues. Now, when a doctor is examining a tongue, they're looking at the tongue's shape, the coating, and the colour during the diagnosis. They also focus on specific areas of the tongue, which are actually linked to different organs and body systems. And each region of the tongue also reflects the health of certain organs. So take a look here. If there's a qi deficiency in the tongue, this will show signs of overthinking and worrying. Heat tongue. If you have a heat tongue, it'll show a bad temperament. If you have qi stagnation, you're going to have unstable emotional states and also premenstrual tension. If you have yang deficiency, you're going to experience emotionally low states. And all of these things can be identified on the tongue. Now, health conditions like clinical depression can affect how well the brain coordinates with the muscles that produce speech. And this can cause noticeable differences in certain aspects of how a person speaks. Now, some of those changes can be heard by people, while others can only be detected using signal processing tools like Mind Report. Have you read this book before? Lovely book. In the book, The Genius in All of Us, the author highlights the environment that children grow up in and how it can shape their mindset. Now, the research shows that children from low-income families are exposed to far more negative comments than positive ones. Approximately 600,000 more negative comments by the time they turn 18. Now, those negative messages include phrases like, "You're not smart enough," "Who do you think you are? That'll never work. Stop it." Did you ever hear those things? Now, in working class families, the gap between negative and positive comments is a little bit narrower. But children in working class families hear about 100,000 more negative comments than positive comments. Now, let's contrast that to upper class families, which are exposed to more encouragement. On average, they hear 100,000 more positive comments than negative comments. They hear some wonderful affirmations like, "You can do it. You've got it. I believe in you." And see, as people grow older, the frequency of positive reinforcement tends to decrease. Most adults after the age of 18 don't get those positive comments anymore. And all of that impacts our mindset. So negative programming absorbed during our childhood can actually take decades to unlearn. It could take 20 or 30 or 50 years to fully overcome those harmful messages. And until then, what happens? It impacts our mental fitness. So take a look at this. Dr. Andrew Mikey says mental fitness refers to a state of well-being that fosters a positive outlook on your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. 95% are repetitive, 80% are negative by nature, and we also speak out loud about 16,000 words a day. Now, take a look at the left. Somebody who's mentally fit displays a lot more vocal energy in their voice, especially in the highs and lows. That's represented in yellow. Now, they also speak at a faster rate, and that's indicated by the shorter, tighter patterns in the blue waveform. Mentally fit speakers also take shorter pauses and maintain a quicker speaking rate, and that's also represented in the blue waveform. And this is what our technology is looking at. Now, take a look at what a depressed speaker's voice looks like. A depressed speaker's voice has less vocal energy. And that's represented in those big black spots. A depressed speaker speaks at a slower rate, and there's slower patterns in the waveforms. A depressed speaker also takes more pauses and has a slower speaking rate compared to a mentally fit person. And these are the things that our technology is measuring. Now, voice is the most complex human function. It requires brain activity, muscle coordination, and respiratory system functions. And they've all got to be functioning properly. So any disease affecting these systems can lead to subtle changes in the voice. So according to the Cleveland Clinic, causes of speech impairment could include neurological conditions, things like stroke or Parkinson's disease, dementia, brain tumours or epilepsy. Things like Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, we can actually detect those in a 4-second voice analysis. Developmental conditions, things like children with autism spectrum disorder, ADHD or ADD. Other things that can create a speech impairment include infections, viral and bacterial, things like tonsillitis, cold and flu, or pneumonia. Other things that cause speech impairments include nerve damage, asthma, exhaustion, stress, or alcohol consumption. So when somebody is nervous, when somebody's tired, or they have health issues affecting their muscles, their voice sounds less smooth. Mental health also greatly affects how well someone can control their voice. So a common sign of clinical depression is that it can make speaking clearly difficult. So studies show that people with clinical depression often have voices that are less clear and harder to understand. Now, good brain function is very important in forming ideas and communicating effectively. Now, there's areas in the brain like Broca's and Wernicke, and they're crucial for controlling speech. So the brain's nerves actually manage how we speak and breathe. The vagus nerve, that's essential in producing sound. And health problems like inflammation, injuries, tumours or infections, they actually cause noticeable changes in how we speak. The endocrine and immune systems also cause health issues that affect voice quality. For example, rheumatoid arthritis. That leads to joint pain, and it can also harm a person's voice. So there's a connection between our mental state and our physical health. And people who have high cortisol levels often see changes in their voice and how they speak. Mental states can also change how we think and communicate, especially for those with depression and other mental health conditions. So the stress does not just impact the physical health, it also connects different diseases to changes in voice and speech. Now, if any of the parts of the voice tract, like the tongue or the jaw or the soft palate, if they've been impacted, it'll change our voice patterns. And our machine learning, which is our mind report and deep learning algorithms, can actually detect these patterns. So today, the mind report that we're using is going to have a look at 5 significant factors of your personal performance. And it's going to identify anything that could hinder you in 2025. So drawing from tens of thousands of case studies, we're going to explore the impact on performance. We're going to have a look at the balance between your left and right brain. We're going to have a look at your emotional states, and we're going to have a look at your mental and social health patterns. So the mind report that we're using is the biggest breakthrough in performance psychology this decade. And it's going to give you an advantage this year like you've never had before. So I want you to think of the mind report just like an X-ray. With an X-ray, you can visualize bones and joints and teeth and lungs, the heart, the breasts, and the digestive systems. That's what you can do with an X-ray. The mind report, it actually uses vocal biomarkers to reveal your inner programming. So through the mind report, we can identify stress levels, personality types, emotions, trauma, and also personal psychology. So just like an X-ray, a mind report makes the invisible visible. Now, what I want you to remember, that the mind report does not focus on your conscious or your unconscious level. Instead, it dives deep into your subconscious levels, far below the surface. Now, it's normal to not fully understand certain aspects of yourself at the start. And the information that you experience today may be a contradiction to everything that you think you know about yourself. So all I ask for you today is to trust in yourself, to trust the process, and we're going to start to peel back these layers of your personality until you gain a profound understanding of who you truly are. So I want you to imagine your mindset as an onion with 3 layers of personality. The outermost layer is your public persona. The middle layer contains deeper aspects, including belief systems, and is less observable. And at the core is the innermost layer, and that is known as your true self. That includes your fundamental identity, your strengths, and your weaknesses. And it's a true reflection of your God-given talents. So what we're looking at today is your God-given talents. We're not concerned about the man-made talents. We're looking at your God-given talents.